Hi, everyone. Welcome to our table talk with Pastor Jon.
Hey, everyone.
We're just at the start of the Easter season.
Yes.
And it's an exciting time. We're going to uncover treasure, as you helped us to see.
Yes.
But we're going to start in the pagan city of Caesarea Philippi.
Yeah. It's, I don't know if you're able to watch the sermon. We'd encourage you definitely to do that. I just was saying to the communities we got going, it's pretty wild when you realize where the confession of Jesus takes place by Orthodox Jews in a place that is just like severely dark. And we walked through all the reasons why it is dark.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it's so dark, and it's there that Jesus chooses to underline his identity.
Which I was reflecting on this week. Of course he does. Of course he does it in a non-Jewish area with a bunch of Jewish guys in front of the gates of hell where people are doing wild, weird sexual things. Like, of course he does. Because the environment literally encompasses what he's come to deal with. He's come to deal with death and Satan and set Jewish and non-Jewish people free through him. Like, the environment's the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's brilliant. Mm-hmm. Of course.
And he's coming out as the Son of Man.
Yeah, the Son of Man, the Son of God, right. And the Son of Man, again, I didn't spend a ton of time on this, but when you read Daniel and you read Revelation and you know what that really means, it's pretty wild. And as a side note, if you ever have Jehovah's Witnesses knock on your door, mm-hmm. This is the passage you pull out. Because in Daniel 7, you notice the Son of Man is worship, and they don't know what to do with that. And all the description of the Ancient of Days in Daniel 7 are used for Jesus in Revelation 1 and 2. And they don't know what to do and that's just as a side note.
Okay.
As to bring them to truth.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So it's this page-turning moment, and you point out that people still hadn't caught on. They'd seen all these miracles, but they still hadn't caught on.
No, and I think this is so important. We keep saying this. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone thought he's Elijah or Jeremiah or his dead cousin John the Baptist or another prophet, because he's doing all these amazing things. And they did not understand who he was. Mm-hmm. And most people say, if Jesus showed up physically in front of me, or if I saw these miracles, I would totally believe. My daughter actually the other day, we were talking about this, and she just said, if my friends could just see miracles in Jesus' name, they'd believe. And I said, honey, they won't. Just because a miracle is done or just something, it's our spiritual condition is so lost, it still takes God to reveal. And that's why in this passage, Jesus says to Peter, it's God who showed you this. It's my Father.
Right.
Not that you were more intellectually engaged or you saw more miracles or you've walked with me, which is a little freaky. Mm-hmm. He walked for a long time with Jesus, and still it took God to show Peter who Jesus was.
Right.
Yeah.
So you point out that it needs to be a personal moment.
Yeah, totally. Because Jesus asked the question, he first of all says, who do people say the Son of Man is? Mm-hmm. And then he says, who do you say I am? And I think that moves it from theory and blogs and, we're going to put words in someone's mouth to, no, I'm asking you personally. Mm-hmm. And I think, when it goes from corporate to personal, it gets it comes home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then we get into Jesus' declaration about Peter.
Yeah.
And an important thing that comes out there is that Jesus is now naming his people.
Yes, and he names Peter as the first leader. He empowers Peter, and then later, 2 chapters later, empowers all the others. But interesting, it's the phrase that, again, I think I mentioned. This is the first time I think the word church is used in the Gospel of Matthew. And he says, it's my church, mm-hmm. which, that word church in Greek used by Jews means the people of God. Again, you just can't say that unless you're God.
Right.
You're not allowed to do that.
No.
And he's like, no, it's my church.
Okay.
Which I think should give us a lot of hope because he's got it. Mm-hmm. Like he's got us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It really is his church.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, he's given us keys to help others to get it.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and again, you're gonna have to go back and listen because we talked about the Pope and the papacy and what are the keys and Peter but at the end of the day, yes, we are able to unlock the kingdom of heaven by pointing people to the person of Jesus. I mean, mm-hmm. He's the only one who allows people home.
Right.
Because he's the only one who came from that place in the first place.
Right.
Right.
Cool. So in all of that amazing discussion, we then move to really a sort of terrible moment,
Yeah.
Peter's first betrayal of Jesus.
Yeah, where he turns around and Jesus says, I'm going to die, and Peter literally takes him aside and says, no, you're not. And basically, like I shared in the message, Peter was saying, you don't need to suffer, you just need to be strong, which was the very temptation that we talked about that Satan gave to Jesus in the wilderness. And wildly enough, Jesus says to Peter, Satan, get behind me, which implies that Satan is deeply influencing Peter at that very moment, right after he's confessed the right thing, which is, again, a whole nother sermon. Well, that was in our Deliverance series. You can go watch that. But I think the heart of it is, right when God moves, the devil is going to try to kill it.
Right.
Every single time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we always need to be careful not to let our human concerns overcome God's kingdom concerns.
Yeah, because we would say, no, you don't need to suffer. And Jesus, just be strong. And why do you need the church? You can just do this. But the Father had already arranged this. And so I think there's a huge call for us in our fully devoted discipleship journey to keep saying, Lord, not in a weird or obsessive way, but Lord, what have you asked me to do? Versus, there's a lot of people who want to be safe, but that's not actually what the Lord asks us to ask. He asks us, what does he want? And sometimes it's safe and sometimes it's not.
Right. And that's a jumping off point for our Easter celebrations.
Totally.
In a little over a week, we have Palm Saturday.
Yes.
Going on 2,000 of us going to be together.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing. But the key is to make it focused on the kingdom, on worship, not on the party.
No, and I said this in the message. I just want to say this to Connect groups if they didn't watch this. Like, it's an amazing privilege, to hang out on Palm Saturday. The facility's amazing. Having all five sites together. There's 2,000 plus of us in a room. Like, it's a family reunion. It's fun. It's great. All those things are fine. But like I was sharing in the message, I can't get by this sense that the Lord wants to get close. And the closeness is directly related to our confession and worship of him. And it's not because it's bigger or there's better lights or a better LED screen wall. That's all fine stuff, but that's not it. So I'm coming with I'm coming to that gathering with some expectation and some question. I'm wondering why now, but I'm encouraged.
Okay, great. Well, here we are at the beginning of the Easter season. In your group, you get to talk this all through.
Yeah, lots to talk about.
And our prayer is that you would anticipate that kind of worship, focused on Jesus, believing him for all that he wants to accomplish for his glory.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.